Today I'm going to be starting my peppers. I'm starting them a little bit earlier this year because the last couple of years that I've done peppers, we haven't really gotten a great harvest. So I'm hoping this will put me ahead a little bit. So we'll see, but I'm doing Hungarian sweet wax, cayenne, jalapeno, and there's something else that I'm missing. There's something else. I can't believe it, the sun is actually out today. Didn't even know we were gonna get any sunshine. But I tell you what, I'm enjoying it. I was so sunshine starved. And last week I came down with a bit of a cold, so I spent the week taking it easy and fighting that off. And I was contemplating pulling the taps, or maple taps, but I thought it was gonna get cold throughout the weekend, so I thought I would just go ahead and leave them in, see what they do, and then keep eye on the trees after that. Well, looking out here today, I'm pretty sure quite a few of these maples have had bud break. At least the ones in the backyard. 2 of these I think have definitely had bud break. But I'm gonna take a little bit of a closer look and see. I don't even know, because we did get down to freezing last night. I don't even know if any of these are trying to drip. This one definitely is not. Nothing is dripping today at all, even though we got down to freezing last night. Yeah. Alright, so this one has definitely had bud break. I'm going to be pulling that tap. It's probably the end of maple syrup season. They're not running anyway. I am going to check our 2 best producing trees to see if they have bud break or if they're flowing. Smell the sap, see if it smells bitter or off. And the buckets that are down on what we call Loop Trail, where it's a cooler microclimate, I'm going to really take a good look at those because there's a chance they haven't had bud break yet and they might still flow. However, probably slim chance at this point, especially since we're not getting good freezing temps until I think this coming up weekend, and they may have bud break by then anyway. So I'm probably going to go ahead and pull the taps on everything, if not today, this week. But I am going to go ahead and pull these 2. And I think it was about mid-March last year when I ended up pulling the taps. So we would be right on target. It would be so nice out here today if it wasn't for that wind. That wind is chilly. So far, none of the trees have any sap flow, and even this guy right here, one of my best trees, isn't doing anything, and it is just on the verge of having bud break. So I think we're actually going to go ahead and pull all the tops today. Well, that is it. The end of maple syrup season. But the end of one season marks the beginning of the next. So now it's time to get the garden ready. Because what do we have? Our plant date is May 15th. It was coming fast. So it looks like, again this year, I got about a gallon of maple syrup and the black walnut syrup. We just combined it all together this year instead of separating it. So unfortunately, it's not gonna be that much for me to make maple sugar with this year. I was hoping maybe to get like 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons this year of maple syrup, but it's not gonna happen, especially considering the fact that a lot of the maple trees that we're tapping are red maples, not sugar maples. So the sugar content is lower than a sugar maple would be. So I think like next spring, if it looks like we're going to still be here for the next year, then I'm going to venture further off into the woods and see if I can find more trees to tap, because I would love to end up with 2 gallons of syrup and turn a whole gallon of that into maple sugar. You also might notice that our syrup looks considerably different than store syrup, as it has like this stuff on the bottom that is called niter or sugar sand, and usually that is filtered out, but since we're not selling this and we're just making it for our own consumption, we leave it in there, and it's just kind of sweet. You can actually eat it out of the jar or scoop it into coffee, or just shake it up before you consume it, and it all just kind of gets mixed in. But we don't mind it, so we just leave it in. Another thing that you'll see if you make your own syrup, or if you buy syrup from someone who makes it, is that there's different colors. Like this is really, really dark compared to, say, this one. And there's 2 things that can cause it to be darker or lighter. The first thing that can cause it to be lighter is the early season maple syrup, maple sap flows tend to be lighter in color, and then later on in the season it tends to be darker. But also what can make it darker is, let's say if sap is boiled for a considerably long time, or if you keep adding sap and boiling it over and over, then that can caramelize the sugars more, and you end up with a darker, richer syrup. We actually really, really like the dark syrup, but we eat it all. It doesn't really matter, it's all good. And that's where you get like your different grades of maple syrup. Currently, where we stand with maple syrup production, getting 1 gallon a year, that completely covers all our maple syrup that we need for a year. In fact, usually about the time it's becoming time to tap trees again, we've got a few pints in the fridge that we're trying to hurry up and get through.
We look to the mountains. We don't care if it's only a dream. Nothing is really what it seems anyway. Now little by little, in the twilight's gentle flow, in the dance of fading light we grow. And all the warnings, when you wanna be loved by everyone, you get fooled by